Hey guys, it's Bina, and it's finally here. We're able to talk about the 1.0 version of Last Epoch, and we'll go in depth into the game, and I'll give you my first impressions as well. And yeah, I'm super excited. Thanks to EAG, thanks to Maxroll for giving me this privilege. So, first of all, let's talk about the initial impression that I have about Last Epoch, which is I've always loved this game, right? I've played this game for more than 3 years. I've had thousands of hours in it. Now, I've always had one complaint about Last Epoch. It was the sound effects. And I gotta say, 1.0 fixes this for a lot of different skills. I did by purpose to put the sound in the intro so that you could actually hear all of the different sound effects that they have introduced in the game and which are getting better and better with every single patch. And I think 1.0 is the it's the biggest patch of them all for sound effects and graphics. I don't know if the footage makes it justice, but you can actually see all the shaders, I think it's ambient occlusion. Graphics look so much sharper, so much better. Sound effects look so much better. And I'm not saying this because, you know, I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm not getting paid to say anything like this, right? I'm just giving you my real first impressions about Last Epoch 1.0 versus what it is in 0.9. And I gotta say, it's a world of a difference to me. It makes a world of a difference. It's like playing on this 1.0 version and then playing on the 0.9 version. It's a world of a difference. I don't even have any words for it, right? Anyways, to cut the story short here, we're gonna go in depth and see a couple of builds that we will be releasing on Maxroll today. Actually, if they are not live right now, they will be in the next few hours. So personally, I will be covering Ballista, regular turrets playstyle, basically, that we've seen a bit earlier. I'm going to be covering Plasma Orb here. Plasma Orb is a new build guide that we're going to be releasing on Maxroll as well, which I am writing. There's also Explosive Ballista, as you've seen a little bit before. So the Trapper playstyle that has screen-wide AoE is just extremely good. It turns your trap into a generator for mana, and then you proc those ballistas that deal screen-wide AoE and do a ton of damage. You can also go with a shield. You can play Squishy if you want. You can play manual cast Ballista. There's so many things that are going to be coming in 1.0, and this is just scratching the surface. I cannot wait to see what you guys cook. You know, I know there's a bunch of good theory crafter. There's a bunch of crazy theory crafters out there. All the PoE community is coming to Last Epoch. All of the ARPG community, which is Grim Dawn, Diablo 4, PoE. Everyone is assembling to play Last Epoch on February 21st. So grab a seat, guys, because we're not done here. We're not done here. Yeah. So my first initial impression, excellent. Okay. I cannot wait to see what you guys think about the game when you actually get to try it, but it's a massive improvement over 0.9. That is 100% for sure. And I'm not saying this is perfect, but it is a massive, massive improvement. Now, let's get into the real things here. Who is Last Epoch for? Last Epoch is for it's for the middle ground in between Diablo and Path of Exile, where Diablo might be a little bit you know, it doesn't have enough depth, doesn't have enough goals to do in the game. You might want to, you know, it's a good arcadey game to blast an RPG with little not as much theory crafting as in other games, for example, right? Not saying there's none. There is some, and I am also a content creator for Diablo 4, but let's be real, it doesn't have the same amount of depth that Last Epoch, or for the bigger name here, PoE has, right? PoE has a lot of depth, a lot of complexity. It is not for the faint of heart if you try to get into PoE in 2024. So if you've been growing with the game for the past 10 years, then it might be pretty, you know, it's kind of second nature to you. Every single mechanic, you know, everything about the game is kind of second nature. Well, it is now you have the opportunity to grow with Last Epoch and to get all of these years of growing with it and it being second nature to you. It is not every day that we see the rise of an RPG like Last Epoch. I think it sets itself apart from the others in certain ways and in very, very good ways. I really like the transformed skill trees. I really like the entire theory crafting part of Last Epoch being a lot. It has a lot of depth without having too much complexity, right? So you can understand the basics very, very easily. And with those basics, you can actually start making your own builds, yourself. You can start cooking, basically. So for those who want to have a good time and follow a build guide, you do so. For those that want to actually cook and play an RPG that rewards you for playing multiple different characters and trying out multiple different interactions, and like testing out with different uniques, different items, it's just great for that. So that is what I think about Last Epoch. And now with the 1.0 coming in just a couple of days, I feel very lucky to have this opportunity to share some details about it with you guys and maybe answer some of the questions that you might have. So here we are in the game, guys. This is going to be a new character creation screen. So create new online character. Finally, cycle Last Epoch 1.0 recommended. Cycles offer a fresh start in a new environment, and the leaderboards are reset. Keep in mind, there is no real difference between 1.0 cycle and legacy, except for that new fresh environment and the leaderboard. So all content is also available on your old character if you want so. But let's go into the new. Let's create a new character here, and let's call it whatever, and let's enjoy this.
In the beginning, there was darkness. Only terror, myself, and the void. I was content with nothing. She dreamt of light, of life, of humanity. We disagreed, and yet, in her world, there were gods. Majasa of the desert, Lagon of the sea, Rye of the endless skies, and Hierot of the frozen tundra. But fate stole Ekera away. Without her, there was conflict, then wars. In the end, it was Rye who sought to outshine the sun that would pull the world into his flame. Caught within Raye's gaze were the Keepers, an order sworn to protect Eterra's memory and the power it still holds. They were joined by someone unexpected, a traveler, willing to walk into the flames of war. But why? Was it honor they sought? Power? Redemption? Or was this fate? Perhaps. But no story is quite that simple.
We have cutscenes, guys. And I can say here, we have cutscenes in between the chapters. We have a clear cut in between chapters that was drastically missing from the game previously. And now with the release of 1.0, finally, cutscenes are coming to Last Epoch, and you will have those in between those chapters. It was not the biggest of things, but I think that brings a level of polish to the game that was not there before. It brings a level of, feels like a more clear cut in between the stories rather than the entire campaign being just one huge chapter, right? And as you can see immediately, you can already see the difference in between 0.9 and 1.0. It's absolutely amazing. We have the new item tooltips. We have the new font for everything. We have a new stat character sheet. It's just movement speed at the middle of the screen. What? We have movement speed in the middle. Okay, small thing, but I'm a movement speed enjoyer, right? So I do enjoy this, okay? Small improvements that make a huge difference to me. Now, Bina, we talked about the campaign. We've seen the first initial opening cutscene. We've seen a couple of builds going on. So what is about the Monolith of Fate and the new corruption, right? So Monos have had a rework for corruption, and now the echo modifiers won't scale the further you are in corruption, the higher you are. It is mainly going to be the corruption that increases how much more difficult these timelines are. So it's going to scale much more faster with more health and damage, which is going to make you, in my opinion, it's harder to push in corruption now than it was before. It feels harder to push right now than it used to be in 0.9. And the reason is, now you can't cherry pick any echo modifiers. Monsters are just always hitting hard and tankier the higher you go in corruption. So it gets increasingly harder. I felt like 500 corruption was kind of like 1,000 corruption from 0.9. So this is just to give you a rough idea. It, in my opinion, scales much faster. So that being said, let's go do an echo and see how this feels. Oh, what is this? Loading screen? Oh. Oh. A little loading screen with a fade in, fade out for the, like, going back in time, going back in the timeline and trying to increase its stability by fixing the corruption. That is pretty cool now. What does this loading screen do as well? It fixes a big problem. Well, it fixes something that wasn't present in the game, which was snapshotting. Minions get their stats when you summon them in Last Epoch. And so they only refresh their stats whenever you are, you reload into a zone or you resummon them, right? So each loading screen resummons your minions, and so that makes it so that you will not be able to snapshot in Monolith. Does this fix the entire thing? Probably not. Is it a good start? Yes. So +1, good job EHG on this, and I can't wait to see even more improvement that improve the balance of the game. So I am playing here my Ballista Falconer, which is one of the guides I'll have on max roll, probably up right now as I release this video. If not, it's going to be up there in a couple of hours. So this build plays as a classic turret playstyle. You place down your Ballistas. You'll have experimental affix on your boots to get your Ballistas teleported with you. So every time you use Aerial Assault, there is this new node inside of Aerial Assault that will give it, well, new node. It's actually a new skill, right? It's one of the Falconer skills, but that node gives your Ballistas 2% more damage per intelligence, and it also gives them 75% attack speed. So they're going to attack much faster, much harder, and they are going to move with you every time that you use your traversal skill to move around the map. So the potential of this build is absolutely crazy. I think there's also another buff for Ballista. Forgot to mention this, but Ballistas used to scale only with 45% of your own stats inside of their tree, but now you have a node that gives them 75% instead of 45, and there's another node that gives them placement speed per dexterity. So you'll be able to place those Ballistas increasingly faster as you get better and better gear. So if we go in game right now here in the Ballista tree, there is this node here, Agile Engineering, which gives you 1% placement speed per dexterity and an attack speed per 5 dex. So Ballista already gain 1% attack speed per dex, and then they also will gain 1% extra for every 5 dex and some placement speed. That allows you, when you have a lot of placement speed, to place them quite fast. So obviously this is the explosive Ballista build, but just to show you this node here, and then this node shared enhancement was buffed to 75% instead of 45. So that is huge buffs for Ballista, on top of having the buff to the aerial assault here, having the node for tactician, giving it 2% more damage and 75% attack speed, and the 2% more damage is per intelligence. We are also getting idols that will actually give you crit multi for you and your minions. So we're getting shared crit multi idols. Since our Ballistas gain all of our stats for crit, then you're kind of double dipping into this. So that, alongside the passive node Finesse Dem here at the top, giving you 2% crit multi per 3 crit avoidance, you'll be able to scale crit multi like crazy for Ballistas. And, you know, if you want to go full ham on damage, you'll be able to do so, and your Ballistas will deal an absolute metric ton of damage. Keep in mind, you can also use Morning Frost with Ballista if you want to get even more damage, and then you'll benefit even more from Morning Frost because that's going to give you 75% of all of that flat damage to them. So absolutely massive. This build is going to be great, and I can't wait to play it. But I have so many builds I want to play, but Ballistas is definitely one of my classics, and yeah, I cannot wait to play this. Next, we have Explosive Ballista. Explosive Ballista, as you've seen, kind of screen-wide AoE. This is going to be my version that I will be playing with like a lot of dexterity and placement speed and just manual cast Ballista. But also, there's also another one which you can play. It's with the traps, right? So I just spawn trap here. I don't have any mana here, but like we'll go into the Divine Era, add the dummy, and see. Explosive Traps Ballista is extremely good at clearing echoes. It has screen-wide AoE, excellent damage, excellent tankiness as well, since you can go like 100% block. It's just, I think this is going to be one of the best builds in the game. Explosive Ballista is an extremely strong build, as you can see here. Just look at this. Like, it's just screen-wide AoE, basically, no? There are multiple ways that you could go about playing Explosive Ballista. One of them, the one that I prefer, is going with a 0 mana cost explosive trap, and then making your trap be a mana generator thanks to a passive node in the base rogue tree, and then just spamming those to proc your Ballista, so you can spam really fast. You get a good amount of dust crowds, and it's just like, it feels really good when you hit targets. You need to hit a target to have your mana back, but since it's 0 mana cost, you also get some mana regen from it. There's another way, which is just going super squishy, which I'm going to try as well. I have a variant for this. Just going super squishy, stacking as much damage as possible, as much crit avoidance to get as much critical strike multiplier, and then going for the just don't get hit, bro. You know? So, because you get access also to a passive that gives you Silver Shrouds, then just don't get hit kind of works, because as you lay down your Ballistas, you get Silver Shrouds, you dodge anything, any projectile that would hit you once, you dodge that first one, and for the rest, you know, you just wait a little bit and you get your Silver Shroud back, and that way you can scale your damage to the moon. It's my plan for the release of the game, and I think it's going to be really fun. Something I haven't done yet in last Epoch is going full squishy, only damage. So, that doesn't cover everything. I will be streaming today, tomorrow, in the coming weeks for patch 1.0. I cannot wait to actually play this and race. Don't forget, there's the race to level 100, both hardcore SSF and softcore. Prizes for both winners. There's going to be a PC case sponsored by EHG and Starforge System in the last Epoch custom. It's going to be a last Epoch custom PC case with light plates. Can't wait to actually do it. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm just so excited for last Epoch, guys. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video, and if you like this video, if you want to support me, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.